Good morning, everyone. We are going to do a quick review of linking verbs. Remember that verbs are the word in the sentence that is either showing an action or a state of being. So specifically today, we're going to be talking about linking verbs and their job. And the job is in the title. So a linking verb links the subject to another word or group of words that are going to identify the subject or rename the subject, or it's going to describe the subject. So we call this the subject complement, which we've talked a lot about in the past. So remember that the subject complement is either going to be a noun or a pronoun, and it's going to rename the subject if it's being a noun or pronoun, or it's describing the subject if it is an adjective. So the main linking verb that we use in the English language is usually a form of be. Okay, so if we look on the screen here, you see all of the most common forms of be that we use. And like I said, this is the most common one. So this is what you are going to be looking for in general when we are looking for linking verbs and seeing how they are linking the subject to the subject complement. For example, Bob is the spokesperson. In this case, we have Bob being the subject, is linking, and then it's linking to spokesperson, which is a noun being the subject complement. Remember, when we are checking to see if it's a subject complement, we should be able to switch the order of the sentence and it still makes sense. So if I said the spokesperson is Bob, that shows me that spokesperson is being a subject complement because it is renaming Bob. In our second example, it was he who won the contest. He is a pronoun being the subject complement in this case. So get familiar with all of these forms of be. Make sure you have them in your memory bank as we move forward with linking verbs. The other type of linking verbs usually have something to do with your five senses. So if you look over this list, we have appear, remain, look, things like that. And they're usually going to link to an adjective in this case. So she felt tired. How did she feel? She felt tired. This is a subject complement telling you or describing she. The grounds look beautiful. Again, beautiful is an adjective describing the grounds. Felt is a linking verb, and look is a linking verb. So you at this point in your grammar career should be able to look at a verb and decide if it is being an action verb or a linking verb, if it's transitive or intransitive. We talked about that last week or the week before break. So if I look at the first sentence, the cookie smelled delicious, is smelled being an action verb here or a linking verb? Hopefully you said that it is a linking verb because it is connecting the word delicious to the cookie. And a way to look at that is the cookie doing the smelling? No, the cookie's not doing the smelling. It's not an action. It's linking the cookie to the adjective delicious. In the second one, we have Bob smelled the cookie. Well, who's doing the smelling? Well, Bob's doing the smelling. So that makes that an action verb. Sorry about that. She felt tired. So we see the word felt. Felt can either be action or linking. In this case, we are linking she, the subject, to how she felt, which is tired, and tired is an adjective, therefore it's a linking verb, whereas the next one, she felt the heat from the sun, she, the subject, is doing the feeling, therefore it is an action verb. So if you are unsure if it's being an action verb or a linking verb and you want to check, an easy way to check to see if it's a linking verb is to substitute that word with a form of be, like is, was, were, and see if it works. So instead of she felt tired, if we said she was tired, that works, therefore it is a linking verb. So in this example, I smelled the chocolate chip cookies. I have I being the subject, and smelled is what I am doing, therefore it's an action verb. And then to know if it's transitive or intransitive, I smelled what? Well, I smelled the cookies, therefore it's transitive because the action goes into a direct object. Our next example, my little brother appeared at the kitchen window. We have the subject brother, and what did he do? He appeared. So we have an action verb. We don't have a direct object, therefore it's intransitive. In this sample, the cookie tasted gooey. Well, we have a cookie and we have the verb tasted. Now, is the cookie doing the tasting? No, the cookie is the thing that tastes gooey. So gooey is going to be your subject complement. Tasted is your linking verb. All right, let's do a little bit of practice here. On your lesson today, you're going to have to add adjectives, nouns, or pronouns to sentences that make sense. And you're going to need to know your parts of speech in order to do this. So, for instance, the weather seemed, and we need an adjective here. So, think of your describing words, your descriptive adjectives. What can we put there? Something like cold. The weather seemed cold. Our neighbor is an, and we need a noun. So we need to think of a person, place, or thing that describes neighbor that we can connect here. So our neighbor is an architect. Notice that I have to have a word that starts with an A or some other vowel here because I have an as my modifier. The next one needs to be a pronoun. So that is blank by the bus stop. So pronouns. How about that is she by the bus stop? And notice in this case it needs to be a subject pronoun because it's being a subject complement. When we have our linking verb, it has to be a subject pronoun. I felt blank this morning. So good adjective. I felt tired this morning. Yes, I did. Very true. And the last one, another pronoun. It was blank who found the cat. It was he who found the cat. And again, it needs to be a subject pronoun here because it's being a subject complement. So you will need to do some work like this today on your exercise. Another practice that you'll need to do, you'll be asked to find the linking verb in a sentence and then decide what the subject complement is. So our ideas sounded worthwhile. Linking verb in this one would be sounded, and what would be the subject complement? It would be worthwhile. We felt overwhelmed by the job in front of us. What would be the linking verb? Hopefully you said felt. And what did we feel? Subject complement would be overwhelmed. We are a very helpful group. Linking verb should be are, good. And then what are we? What is describing we? We should have picked group. And then the last one, the park was a welcoming place. What's our linking verb? Was, and what is the subject complement describing park? Place. So hopefully that helps you and reminds you what linking verbs are and how to find the subject complements. Now, the other thing that you're going to need to do is be able to find the verb or verb phrase and decide whether the verb is being transitive, intransitive, or a linking verb. So let's practice this a little bit. Frederick Olmsted was the designer of many parks. So first of all, what is our verb or verb phrase in there? You should have picked was. Okay, now what is was doing in this sentence? We have Frederick Olmsted, subject, was. What was he? He was a designer. Designer is subject complement of Frederick Olmsted, therefore this is a linking verb. He lived in the 1800s. What's our verb or verb phrase? We should have picked lived. Now, he lived, we have subject he, verb lived. So we have an action verb here. Now our question is it transitive or intransitive? So we have to ask if there's a direct object. He lived what? He lived who? There isn't, therefore this would be transitive. I'm sorry, intransitive. Cities became hospitable places. So we've got cities did what? They became. So there is our verb. Cities became places. So what would that be? Hopefully you said that that was a linking verb because cities and places, the subject complement renaming cities, places became cities. I know that sounds weird, but that would be a linking verb between the subject cities and the subject complement places. People needed green places for relaxation. What would be the verb or verb phrase there? Hopefully you said needed. People needed what? They needed places. Therefore, that would be a transitive verb. The world seems quiet and peaceful. The world does what? It seems. And how does it seem? It seems quiet and peaceful. So these two are both adjectives, therefore they are subject complements, and this would be a linking verb. And our last one, the traffic of the city disappears. Traffic of the city disappears. So what would be the verb there? It would just be disappears. And we don't have a subject complement. We don't have a direct object. Therefore, that would be intransitive. All right, so I hope that that was enough of a review for you to put that back into your minds, what linking verbs are, what they do, how to find them, and a little bit of review as far as transitive and intransitive. And if you need to look back over this or listen to it again as you work, feel free to do so. Have a great day.